Scientists discover the world that exists. Engineers create the world that never was. These are famous words by Theodore Van Karman. They kind of hit home because growing up, I loved to be around cars. My dad was a race car driver. I'd go to the track every weekend with him, and I'd wait for the car to come back to the pits, and I'd just kind of be intrigued by everything that he was doing. He'd check the air pressure, he'd check the cambers, and he'd also do weight distributes, and all this was in an effort to try and make something better or to go faster, and that kind of intrigues me. This is where I kind of fell into science. I first found out that I loved to work with my hands when my dad was deployed in 2002. Me and my brother and sister decided that we were going to help out my mom and pick up some slack around the house, and I kind of chose that the cars and anything else that needed to be done outside. So I was often changing oil, I was often fixing anything that really needed to be fixed. And once I put the two together, one would think, why aren't you just a scientist? Well, I don't really want to pay for the scientists, and I also like to solve problems. That's another major aspect of engineering. After some research of which discipline of engineering I decided that I'd want to do, I came to the conclusion of mechanical engineering. According to the U.S. Department of Labor, they estimate that almost 240,000 mechanical engineers are employed in the United States. Also in this article, it states that the average hourly wage is $39 an hour, but it can get up to $58 to $60 an hour. So, speaking annual salary, this is about a median of $75,000, but to the majority, 80%, they made about $90,000 to $120,000 yearly. Part of the mechanical engineering, you need a bachelor's degree, minimum. You can get your PhD and your master's as well, but minimum you need your bachelor's. Top 5 schools in the United States consist of California Institute of Technology, MIT, University of Minnesota, Stanford, and ISU. This is where I'm planning to transfer. Coming to Iowa Western, I decided that I was going to do their one-year program. They have a pre-engineering degree that transfers over to Iowa State hand in hand. After the first year, you take out your basic maths, your basic sciences, and then once you get to Iowa State, you're just there for more of the engineering aspect of it. During your last semester of engineering school, you actually go work for a engineering firm. There's different firms, obviously, for each engineering field, but the mechanical engineering firms would kind of be around like your machines, your products, and also would be like scoping areas for a large equipment that would be coming in. As an intern for these firms, you would work hand in hand with certified engineers, kind of be their shadow. In the engineering firms, there's 2 different levels. There's field work, which often are engineering technicians, which only need an associate's degree, but significant pay less, and you kind of get the more workload. A field worker would be the one that actually got out into the field. They would be the one surveying. They would be the one checking out the area to make sure this is going to fit there, or checking out a machine, checking the flow of the water and whatever else the problem that exists is. The other aspect would be your desk or your office workers. These would be your main engineers, your head of the program. You're going to have them drafting, doing your major calculations, and also consulting other engineering firms as well as construction companies. Oftentimes, the drafting is actually just done as a sketch, and they pass it down to those technical engineers who will kind of draw it and make it all fit. So it's easy to, or it's a very much passing work from person to person. This requires a clean and legible handwriting and kind of a go-to certain way to do things. Let's see here. The pros of mechanical engineering are definitely the money. I mean, who can't pass up $120,000 a year, right? Another thing is, making a difference. I love the problem aspects of it. You want to, make that change to help somebody out. And then also, it's kind of a bragging right thing. If you're not so much mechanical engineering, but architectural engineering, you can, point at a building and say, yeah, I helped build that. I was the one that, made sure that fit there, and, it's still standing today. Of course, with every pro, there comes a con. These include long hours. You're going to have every job is going to take more and more hours, or, you might even have less hours. It's just everything fluctuates. You don't have your set hours. Also, travel. Travel is a big thing. You're not going to just be locally. You're not just going to be local. You're definitely going to have to get out there, and oftentimes you'll be traveling even the world, which also could be a pro. Another thing that is a con for me is city life. You're going to have to live in a bigger city or near that bigger city because the engineers aren't going to have a firm in a small town where, like, I grew up. Engineers like to solve problems. If there aren't problems available, they'll create their own. These are famous words by Scott Adams. So in conclusion, the reason I chose engineering, and mechanical engineering at that, is because I like to work with my hands, I like to have the problem solving, and of course, I like the money.